we go. It's the FA Cup final preview, people. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. It's that time of the year again. It's the FA Cup final that is upon us. The home of English football, Wembley Stadium, will be playing host to Crystal Palace, taking on Manchester City in the finale of this year's competition. And I, for one, cannot wait for this game to unfold. There's a lot of potential here for a great game and, of course, for a massive, monumental, history-making moment for one of these two teams. Palace could go on to win this competition for the first time in their history, whilst Manchester City could go on to record an 8th FA Cup triumph should they manage to overcome Oliver Glasner's side at Wembley on Saturday afternoon. We're going to be talking about the finale, people. We're going to be previewing it, analysing it, and of course trying to predict where the trophy will be heading come the final whistle of the game. But before we go any further in discussing all of that and much more, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you are new. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. And I also encourage you to get involved in the conversation yourselves. Let me know your thoughts, comments, opinions, but most of all, of course, your predictions on how you think the game will pan out Saturday afternoon at Wembley, FA Cup final. I'd love to gauge your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, in the comment section down below. Use and abuse that section, people. And without further ado, we're gonna get on with the conversation ourselves. We're talking Palace. We're talking Manchester City. We are talking the FA Cup final. Look, can I just get something out of the way first and foremost on this? And I don't know if I'm the only one that feels this way or not, but shouldn't the FA Cup be the final game of the domestic season in its entirety? Shouldn't this be the final, last game to close out the domestic season? Because obviously after this game plays out, these two teams especially have got 2 games remaining, and most of the other teams in the Premier League will have 1 game remaining. That will obviously be played out next week. Shouldn't the FA Cup be the be-all and end-all of a domestic season? Shouldn't it be the Premier League season ends and then the final game of the domestic calendar is the FA Cup? Am I the only one that thinks that? Let me know what you guys think about that down in the comments section. But anyway, back to the preview. Look, there is a monumental chance of history being made by one of these two teams by winning this trophy this year. For Palace, there is so much riding on it. They have everything to gain. They have never won this competition. They have come close on a couple of occasions. They've got to the final on a couple of occasions, but they've never actually won this competition. They made the final in, I believe, 1990. They failed. They made the final in, I believe, 2016, if I remember correctly. We all know what happened in that final. We all know the Alan Pardew dance, but we all know that in the end, Manchester United were the victors of that season's competition. So there is a massive, massive moment in history to be made there for Crystal Palace if they were to go on and topple the absolute Goliaths known as Manchester City. They could win the competition for the first time in their history. They could go on to, if they win it, of course, go on to make the Europa League for next season. So there's massive, massive incentives there for Palace to win the trophy, to gain more money, and to obviously gain European football for the next campaign, which would be incredible for Oliver Glasner's side. Whilst on the other side of things for Manchester City, they made the final last year, of course. They got knocked out of the competition by Manchester United, their arch rivals, their fierce rivals, their closest neighbours, in what was an incredible finale last season. Eric Ten Hag's Manchester United, of course, back then went into that one as the underdogs and managed to come out smelling of roses and triumphing over their arch rivals. It was a bad day at the office for Manchester City and for Pep Guardiola. But, of course, they'll be looking to go that one step further this time around. And there's extra incentive for Man City to, of course, do that this season. It's been a shockingly bad season by their recent standards, Manchester City. No silverware to show for their efforts during this campaign. Obviously, a title race that ended before it really began for them. Getting knocked out the Carabao Cup pretty early. Getting knocked out of the Champions League in the playoff to the knockout stages of that competition. So the FA Cup's really the only thing that they have to put all their eggs in one basket in. They are going to secure Champions League football, it seems, for next season. So, you know, that's pretty much a given. But in terms of silverware, this is it. This is their last chance saloon. This is their last roll of the dice. And the only thing standing in their way of that happening is, of course, the threat of Oliver Glasner's Crystal Palace side. I'm expecting a very exciting, very intriguing game between these two. We all know that the route to the final in their last game, Palace beat Aston Villa and beat them pretty comfortably. They've defied the odds a little bit in that regard to get to this stage of the competition, whilst Manchester City had to overcome a tough test themselves in knocking out Nuno Espirito Santo's Nottingham Forest side. For me, City have rode their luck a little bit in this competition at times, but they've managed to come out smelling of roses throughout it, and of course managed to get through to this stage, and that's really what it's all about. Just getting through by any means necessary, by hook or by crook. You don't have to play well, you just have to take your chances when they fall. You have to hope that there's a little bit of luck on your side as well, and you have to hope that the opposition aren't quite firing on all cylinders to obviously advance and progress. And, you know, for City, they're going to face a tough task here. They are going to face a tough task here that I'm very much looking forward to seeing how this one plays out. Normally when these two teams face off, it normally does throw up quite the interesting competition. I think in the last 6 games that these two teams have met and played in, this fixture has produced something along the lines of 27 goals between them. And there was a period of time where Palace were actually a bit of a thorn in the side of Manchester City. So I'm really much looking forward to seeing how this one plays out. We obviously saw a few weeks ago in the Premier League, Crystal Palace race away into a 2-goal lead before Manchester City, of course, came back and ended up absolutely demolishing them. The hope for me, because obviously I want the underdog in Crystal Palace to win this game, would be that Palace have learned from their mistakes of that game, and maybe they will go on to use that to their advantage. For Manchester City, they've of course been there and done that. They've beaten Crystal Palace, but now it's in a final. They obviously need to redeem themselves from last year's final. They need to obviously win this more so this year than any other year, considering the fact that there's been no silverware to show for their campaign so far. It's going to be very intriguing, this game, in my opinion, and one that I'm hoping for a lot of entertainment and hopefully a lot of goals. Oliver Glasner, notorious for winning cup competitions. He of course won the Europa League with Frankfurt, but this is a different kettle of fish altogether, because obviously it's Pep Guardiola and Manchester City that stand in his way of glory this time around, with all due respect to his Europa League triumph. Team news. The only seemingly concern for Crystal Palace is Adam Wharton, whether he's going to be fit or not to play this game. He still remains a bit of a doubt at the time of recording. And as for Manchester City, there's no Stones, there's no Ake, there's no Rodri, of course. And there's also no... I think 1 or 2 others might be a little bit of a doubt as well. But other than that, clean bill of health for the most part. Erling Haaland is, of course, back in the squad, and of course will likely be leading the line. Will he finally break his Wembley duck that has seen him obviously not be able to find the back of the net at Wembley Stadium? The only thing he's got going for him a little bit is I think he's got 6 goals against Crystal Palace in his last 4 games against them. So there is a little bit on the side of Erling Haaland there that maybe, just maybe, he can finally find the back of the net at Wembley for him. As for Crystal Palace, I think you will find that their main threats are obviously going to be Ismail Assar, Eze, and of course Jean-Philippe Mateta. Those three in particular leading the line for Crystal Palace. They, of course, have caused Manchester City some problems in the past. It's going to be very intriguing to see if they're going to be firing on all cylinders come the finale. In the midfield, of course, you've got the likes of Will Hughes. Hopefully, Adam Wharton is going to be fit to play in some part of this game because he is a very good talent. And then defensively, of course, it's going to be about the wing-back situation. Mitchell and Munoz working the wings. And hopefully the defensive side of the game is going to be very solid as far as what Oliver Glasner is concerned. As for Manchester City, of course, like I say, Erling Haaland's going to be leading the line. This will obviously be the final game in a Manchester City shirt in terms of this competition for Kevin De Bruyne. He'll obviously want to kind of leave on a high. Obviously want to kind of win a trophy for Manchester City in what will be his final season. So this will be a very good opportunity for him to show up. And he has actually performed very well in the FA Cup this season, so I would imagine he's going to probably have a big say on this game. I know it hasn't exactly been the best of season for Phil Foden, but he could spring to life at any moment. Man City's newest signing, Omar Mamouche, is probably in contention to start as well. Potentially Jeremy Doku as well. Likes of Savia, Bernardo Silva, of course. Still got Ilkay Gundogan. It's a wealth of riches to have, of course, for City, and it's going to be very interesting to see what kind of lineup Pep goes with, the kind of strategy he goes with. It's going to be very intriguing to see how Pep Guardiola tackles this one. But I'm expecting goals. I really, really am expecting goals in this one, and I'm hoping Palace win. I'm hoping for an underdog story. I'm hoping Palace win. It'll be a fantastic achievement for Palace. Someone different to win this competition as well. A moment for their fans to savour for a lifetime. Winning it against Manchester City as well would just make it a bit sweeter. And not only that, but the chance to make history, the chance to win it for the first time, and to obviously then go on to perform in and compete in European football for next season will obviously be an incredible sight to behold for Palace and for those supporters. So I want it to be Palace. My heart is wanting it and is saying let it be for Crystal Palace. However, the obvious choice, the favourite in this is obviously Manchester City. They are the favourites for a reason. They have the quality, they have the talent, they have the individual brilliance to get across the finish line in this situation. And as much as I would like to see a bit of a David versus Goliath encounter in this kind of situation, in which obviously David would turn out to be the winner, for my prediction, I unfortunately have to go with the favourite. And that favourite is obviously Manchester City. And I don't want it to happen, but I think it will. I think Kevin De Bruyne is going to put on a show. I think Erling Haaland is finally going to break his Wembley duck. And I think City will record an 8th FA Cup to add to their collection. And unfortunately for a lot of rivals and for myself, they will not be ending this season completely trophyless. I think they will obtain the FA Cup at the end of this campaign. So unfortunately, that's just the way that I see it. I think Manchester City are going to win this game, whether it be in 90 minutes or 120 minutes, because I'm going for a 3-2 victory. 3-2 victory in favour of Pep Guardiola's side. I'm hoping and praying for goals. There normally does tend to be goals when these two teams meet. So I am going for a 3-2 victory in favour of Manchester City, whether it be in 90 or 120 minutes of play. But I'm obviously hoping that I'm wrong, and I'm hoping for an upset, and I'm hoping Crystal Palace can get the job done, because that would be a phenomenal moment for Palace and for English football in general. So here's to hoping for Crystal Palace, but I don't necessarily think that will materialise come Saturday afternoon at Wembley. There you have it, people. Those are just my thoughts, comments, opinions, and most of all, predictions on how I think the FA Cup final will play out tomorrow afternoon. I want to know from you, though, what do you think will happen in the FA Cup final tomorrow? Do you think Crystal Palace will be the victors for the first time in their history? Or do you think Manchester City will win the FA Cup for an 8th time? Let me know what you guys are thinking and feeling down below in the comments section. I would love to hear what you have to say on this particular topic. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way out if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you are new. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. And thank you all for your continued or brand new support to the channel. Whichever one it is, I am greatly appreciative of. Will never be taken for granted. You guys are absolutely awesome. Cannot thank you enough. Yeah, I really cannot thank you enough. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I will soon speak to you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Fingers crossed for Palace tomorrow, but like I say, I think City are gonna win. Cheers, guys. See you again soon. Goodbye.